Okay, so on this video, we're going to be doing our solar system and phases of the moon. We're going to do the sequence, text features, and text structures pages. Okay, so we haven't done one of these sequence pages before, so let's look at this really carefully. So it says, organize the events below in the correct sequence from the top to the bottom by cutting them and gluing them in order. Complete the boxes with a transition word after you've arranged the events, like the example below. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 boxes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this one over here, number 1. And when I find number 1, or sorry, number 1 is done for us. So I'm going to number each of these: 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So I've got my boxes labeled. And so what I'll do is I will help you with the transition words after we figure out which box goes in which one. So let's start by reading all of them. Okay, so over here we have first, the moon orbits the planet Earth. Okay, so we're going to read these. The moon is a new moon, which means people cannot see any of it lit up from Earth. The moon is then halfway lit up and known as a full moon. The moon moves and less of it is seen from Earth. The moon orbits Earth and people are able to see more and more of it. The moon continues to move through the orbit, changing phases over and over again. So when I go back to this story, it kind of is going to follow where we're at, okay? So it starts out in the third paragraph. When we look at the third paragraph, the first sentence says the new moon phase is when the moon is between the Earth and the sun, okay? So the one that tells me that is right here because I see new moon. The moon is a new moon, which people cannot see any of lit up from the sky. So that is going to go in number 2, okay? Now, um, when I'm back on my phases of the moon paper, and I'm looking, it says, as the moon orbits the Earth, people are able to see more and more of the moon. So this is talking about where we're seeing more and more. Right here, more and more of it. So this one is going to go in the third box. Now, what happens after we see more and more of it? The next sentence says the moon moves halfway around the Earth. At this time, the moon is known as a full moon. So here's our keywords: halfway and full moon. So we did 2, we did 3, we are on 4. Okay, so that one's going to be number 4. So we only have 2 left. So we're getting there. So it says the moon continues to move through its orbit. However, now less and less of the moon can be seen. Right here, less and less of it can be seen. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, which leaves this for 6. Okay, the moon continues to move through the orbit, changing phases over and over again. Now I need to look at these words up here and figure out what's going to go in each place. Okay, and some of these, there are a couple of words you can use in each one. Now, because it says first here and they've already used that, if I was you, I would just like probably cross it off, because if they've used it, we aren't going to use it. So for me, I'm just going to highlight it to show me that we've used it. Okay, so this one, I need a word to go in this box right here. And after first, you could use a couple different words. You could use second, because first, second. You could also use next. I like next, so that's what I'm going to use. Next, and see how there's a comma after it up here? So that's what I'm going to use. So next, the moon is a new moon. So now I'm going to come down to 3 and you know what? I changed my mind, boys and girls. Let's go ahead and use second, because then I can come down to number 3 and I can use next. So first, second, next. Okay? Make sure to use that comma. Now I'm on number 4. Okay? So a good transition word for this, we could use later. We could use, I don't see the word that I want to use. So we have first, second, next. So see, some of these don't all make sense. After the moon has been halfway, that doesn't really make sense. Before the moon, no. Let's use the word then. Then the moon. Then the moon is then halfway lit up. Okay, we're coming over here to number 5. The moon moves. And so first, second, next, then later. Okay. And when I have a last step, I can put last. I can put finally. For this one down here, I am going to put the word finally, because it doesn't just talk about it being the very last. It tells you that it's continuing to move on. So I'm going to put finally. Okay? So that is how you do that sequence paper. So now we did one of the text feature papers in our last packet, so I'm sure you can figure this out. But we're labeling the text features. So let's go through and look at this, okay? The first one says headings. Of course we have headings. So let's circle up. We have a heading right here, okay? And you need to write heading next to it, so we know what you're talking about, okay? Bold words. Do we have any bold words? Well, we do. They're really hard to see. Let's see. I'm going to zoom this in so it looks like yours. Another thing I can do is I can go back and I can try to find one of the bold words. So on mine, right here, is the word planet, and that is a bold word. Remember, we're trying to label these. Okay, chart. Do you see a chart anywhere? I don't. Pictures. I don't know that I see a picture. These I would not call pictures, okay, because it's not a direct picture of the sun or a direct picture of the planet. An index, we don't have that. A map, neither of these are a map. Okay, but a diagram. In this one, we have diagrams. I would call this and this a diagram. So choose one, circle it, and write diagram. Okay. So, glossary. Of course, we have a glossary. We have a glossary on all of our pages to help us with our word Okay, so, and captions. Neither of my diagrams had a caption. So it's just those four for this one. So when I was reading, I noticed a glossary. The glossary, to me, what did the glossary help us? The glossary helps me understand the vocabulary words. Okay, when I was reading, I noticed blank. So now I need to choose something from up here. I noticed a diagram. A diagram. The diagram helped me, and now I'm going to say, how did it help me? It helped me to picture the phases of the moon. And I'm done with it. Okay, that's all you've got to do on that page. So now we're coming down to the text structure. Okay, I know this one's hard because text structure is hard, but Ms. Harper has taught it to you over and over. So, and I have taught it to you, so we can figure this out. So our solar system is organized by using blank. So let's try to figure this out. Is it a problem and solution? This one doesn't really talk about problems or solutions or causes and effects. Well, question and answer, each one of them starts with a question. It says, what is the solar system? What are the inner planets? What are the outer planets? So, and then it goes on to answer those. So question and answer is probably my best choice. So that is what I'm using. Is organized by using question and answer. I know this because each subheading is a question, and the paragraph after the subheading answers the question. This text structure helps me as I am reading because, okay, so how is this helpful? Well, I know where to find the answers easily in each section. Okay? Because you have a question and then you right there easily have the answer. So phases of the moon. Let's look at that one. Okay. Actually, let's come up here so we can see the problem is solution. It doesn't state a problem, so there's no solution to be had. Cause and effect. I don't know that it gives me a cause of something. Question and answer. I don't see questions like I did on our solar system. Then we have compare and contrast. There aren't two things that it's comparing, so we can't compare contrast. Description. It does really, really describe the phases of the moon, so that's a possibility. And then it says sequence. What I like about sequence is that we just did a paper called Sequence for this passage. So of course, sequence makes the most sense. First this happened, then this happened, next this happened, later this happened. So we're going to put sequence. Okay. I know this because each phase is told in order. Okay. And it uses transition words. This text structure helps me as I'm reading because, so it's specific here because I now understand the order of the phases of the moon. And you have completed your solar system